What is good, YouTube? It's your boy, the Lost Wax Man, and today I got another video for y'all. Today we got why Russell Westbrook will hurt the Lakers' chance of a championship. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this could be true, man. I feel like Russell, he could diminish it a little bit, but like I said, we'll see. I feel like Buddy Hield was a better option. I feel like, but maybe the Lakers know more than we do. You know what I'm saying? So, this is a video by Legend of Winning. I'm going to put his channel in the description box down below. So, before we start, if you haven't done so already, make sure to comment, like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't forget to hit that post notification bell every time I drop a video. Follow my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok links are down below, man. And you already know, this video will be down below as well, man. So, let's get right into it. Alright.
So, after NBA season that concluded with a championship led by historically dominant performances from both Anthony Davis and LeBron James, the Lakers unfortunately found themselves underperforming by a pretty wide margin by the end of the season. Because at the end of the season, the Lakers were barely in pursuit to make a postseason appearance, and in the playoffs, their run concluded with a first-round exit. Now, of course, there are several reasons why this occurred, the biggest one being that both Anthony Davis and LeBron James were dealing with injuries throughout the entire regular season, and then when the playoffs began, they were not 100%. But the second biggest reason why this was the outcome for the Lakers is quite simply that the talent that surrounded both AD and LeBron were not good enough, which is why heading into this offseason was going to be so interesting, because there were several concerns about what the Lakers were going to look like moving forward and what they were able to do in this year's free agency class. Which brings us to the blockbuster trade that transpired just yesterday, because with a transaction that very few people were expecting, the Washington Wizards, after just 1 year service, sent over future Hall of Famer Russell Westbrook, and in return they only received Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and a late.
I'm not gonna lie, for the Wizards side of it, for Bradley Beal, I highly suggest, and I'm being serious. Like I'm being so serious. Like if I'm Bradley Beal, I'm requesting a trade, bro. Like bro, it's not even just this trade, bro. It's just like what the team is gonna look like going forward, bro. If I'm so serious, bro. Bradley Beal, bro, for your betterment of your career, bro, just request a trade, bro. Cause, bro, this is not it, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. And I'm a Wizards fans too, bro. Ride or die, bro. But this is not it, bro. Bradley Beal, bro, get the hell up out of there, bro. That's all I gotta say, bro. Alright, let's continue with the video. But Kyle Kuzma, though, damn.
After this transaction, there are several questions that many people have to ask. So, let's talk about the good, bad, and ugly of the Russell Westbrook trade. First things first, we have to acknowledge the talent that is Russell Westbrook. Westbrook's impact ranges from scoring, passing, defense, and probably most importantly, controlling the pace of the game. And I do believe a lot of people may not be aware of this, mainly because they don't thoroughly understand how good Westbrook was in the second half of the season last year. In the last 30 games of the regular season,
yeah, I'd say Westbrook, he was good towards the end of the season, but when it came to the playoffs, I mean, yeah, he didn't show up at all. Like, I mean, when it came to the playoffs, I mean, it was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, towards the end of the regular season, I mean, he did play better compared to the first half. So, I mean, I'll give him that, but it was up and down, really. So,
nearly 23 points, 13 assists, and nearly 14 rebounds. Of course, many people could argue how those numbers are being produced, but I do believe it's still important to acknowledge them, because if you look at the rest of the roster around LeBron and AD, it would be very hard to claim that the players that they gave up would be able to produce at that volume, even if you were to combine a lot of their numbers together. So to get that level of play from one player not only adds a layer to how dynamic the Lakers could be, but it may be something that this organization desperately needs, especially when LeBron is off the floor. Which brings us to the second positive thing about this transaction for the Lakers. Last year, when LeBron was off the floor, the Lakers struggled pretty noticeably to keep up some level of offensive productivity. Now, some people may argue that that's nothing new, that has been a pretty consistent theme throughout LeBron's career, and I would agree. However, in the playoffs in particular, it hit historic lows to how much of a change we saw in what the rest of the roster could produce when LeBron was taking a break. During the regular season, when LeBron was on the floor, the Lakers had an offensive rating of 112, but when he was off the court, the offensive rating for the Lakers dropped down to 105.8. the playoffs, the shift is at a historic range. When he was on the floor during the playoffs, the offensive rating was roughly 109. But when LeBron was off the floor during the playoffs, the offensive rating for the Lakers was at 74.1, which is ridiculous.
That's
and I
ass.
believe that Westbrook should be able to come in and immediately aid the Lakers in those regards, because for the better part of the last 5 to 6 years now, Westbrook, out of all the things that I think that everyone unanimously can claim that he has the ability to do at an elite level, it is raising the floor for any team or any situation that he finds himself in. And I do believe that is something that is desperately needed for an organization that is shaped their roster to overly depend on what LeBron can produce at an advanced age, because next year he will be 37 years old. So again, having someone like Russell Westbrook aid this offense while LeBron is taking a break is something that is a noticeable positive, and I do believe it's probably the greatest attribute to adding Russell Westbrook to this team. However, those are really the only two positives that I can think about when it comes to Westbrook on the Lakers. Now, before I highlight the obvious flaws with this transaction,
But yeah, just restating his positives. I mean, yeah. He brings another level of scoring that the Lakers needed. Like pretty much like they need, pretty much the whole time AD and LeBron's been in LA. The only problem with them was just like who's gonna be the third scorer. People were saying Kyle Kuzma would be that third scorer. It never happened, obviously, but just adding another level of scoring along with AD and LeBron definitely helps in terms of trying to make a run at the championship. So yeah, I'll say yeah, his scoring ability does help, especially when LeBron's off the court. We'll see. Will we see like Westbrook and AD probably be with the second unit? I mean, we'll see, but it's gonna be real interesting. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with that.
I do want to acknowledge some of the other negatives first, because I do believe there's so many things that people are overlooking, and it's scary. First, let's talk about the financial implications of adding Russell Westbrook to your team. Because now, the Los Angeles Lakers have committed north of $120 million between the three star
Yeah, that is crazy though.
one of which is injury-riddled in Anthony Davis. The other one will be 37 years old by the end of this upcoming season in LeBron James. And the last one in Russell Westbrook is grossly overpaid, which basically means that the Lakers put themselves in a situation where they have to win now, even though they just added a player on the roster that potentially could take a year or two to come accustomed to the rest of the stars on the team. But even if you want to be optimistic that Russell Westbrook will somehow figure it out, which I doubt, you still have to acknowledge how the rest of the roster is going to be built. Adding someone like Carmelo Anthony or Trevor Ariza more than likely won't be enough to fill out the rest of the roster with quality rotation pieces. Secondly, this whole logic that the Lakers should have gone after someone like Russell Westbrook or another ball handler because when LeBron goes off the floor, then their offense just collapses is completely exaggerated. Yes, that did happen this last season, and it certainly happened in the playoffs. But honestly, I'm so confused to why we hold that much credibility into that argument when we all know that LeBron nor Anthony Davis were 100% healthy. And when they are both healthy, similar to the 2020 postseason run, when LeBron was on the floor, the Lakers had an offensive rating of 115. When he was off the floor, the Lakers had an offensive rating of 109. Yes, there is a dip in productivity, but it's certainly controllable. So controllable that I wouldn't freak out and claim that I have to commit.
Yeah, and that's why when after the Lakers won their championship, that's why a lot of people were wondering why they let go of Rondo and Dwight Howard and McGee. I guess McGee, more so Howard than McGee, but you get what I'm saying. They're wondering. I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I don't know why they got rid of Rondo, especially, but yeah, it really didn't make any sense. Having a guy like Rondo probably would have helped against the Suns. Would they have won? Probably not, but then again, it would have helped to have another playmaker on the team. So.
North of $40+ million to another ball handler on my roster, when I more than likely can find other quality ball handlers around the league that can provide other things that I desperately need that Westbrook just doesn't do. Which brings me to my last point before I go on to the disgustingly bad negative aspects of adding Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. And that is, The Lakers actually had the opportunity to acquire a quality three-point shooter in Buddy Hield and didn't really have to lose anything in the process. Now, no, I am not saying that Buddy Hield as a player is better than Russell Westbrook. But what I am saying is that Buddy Hield, based off of what he provides, which is elite three-point shooting, and he does it at an extremely high volume and at a high efficiency rate, that fit on a team that needs more three-point shooting is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than whatever you might get out of Russell Westbrook. Because in my opinion, I would honestly attempt to maximize the 36 minutes of action that I'm going to get out of LeBron James rather than attempting to increase the productivity of the offense in the 12 minutes that he's going to be off the floor. Now, up until this point, we can really debate some of the concerns I may have raised with the Lakers adding Russell Westbrook to their team. But for the rest of this video, I don't believe that there's anything I'm about to say that is deniable. That's debatable. But also factors that will be a major negative and detriment to the Lakers. First things first, having two players who are ball dominant in Russell Westbrook and LeBron James is a really hard fit. Especially
example, James Harden and Russ when they were in Houston for that 1 year. It didn't really work out, but only reason why it had a glimmer of hope was because they traded Clint Capella away, so that created more space in the hole for Russ. Because at Russ's play style, he's not really a shooter. He's more so of a drive to the basket type of player. So getting rid of Capella created more space. I think they put PJ Tucker at the center, I believe they did, and they let Russ do his thing, drive to the hole. Now the only thing is though, with Gasol can space the floor for you as a big center. He could shoot a three. If they decide to keep Drummond, which I don't think they will, because Drummond is asking for too much, but let's just say hypothetically they keep Drummond. Now they probably, listen, with Drummond, he's not a shooter. He's going to be in the paint. He's a rebounder really. So he's just gonna clog the paint up, man. It's like I don't see it. That's an ugly fit, bro, for me.
when both of them have inconsistent shots.
But if the Lakers really, I'm gonna let Lowe finish this out.
That statement definitely holds true to Russell Westbrook. Now, for the people out there who want to point out, well, LeBron and Kyrie, they played together, and that worked out fine. And even Wade and LeBron played together, and Dwayne Wade isn't the greatest floor spacer.
That was a different time.
Here's the thing, you're right. But also, here's the other part of that formula that you are purposefully ignoring, and you're having this conversation in bad faith. Anyone who watched LeBron and Wade play together, they knew for a fact the reason why that worked is because Chris Bosh was willing to take on a lesser role. Same thing with Kevin Love. Both Love and Bosh were regulated to three-point shooters to give ample floor spacing to two.
Yeah. Basically, I was saying, yeah. Chris Bosh, decided, to help the team, I got to become a three-point shooter. Same thing for Kevin Love. Even though Kevin Love was already kind of a three-point shooter, both of them kind of had to take a back seat, really, in terms of production offensively. So, yeah, that makes sense. But what I was going to say is if the Lakers want to have that, same type of offensive productivity, my suggestion would be put AD at the 5, and so the offense could be better flowing for Russ, just in case LeBron takes the seat, or even when I can't talk right now. Even when LeBron's in the game, I'll put AD at the 5. Now I don't know who'll be the 4. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But that would be us. That would be a good suggestion. Put AD at the 5. That would make sense. But AD doesn't really want to play center like that. So, hey man, I don't know what to tell them.
Players who love to get inside the basket, regardless if it was LeBron and Wade or LeBron and Kyrie. That will not happen with Anthony Davis. And if it does, I believe that will do more harm than good, because not only is Anthony Davis not as good as a three-point shooter as Kevin Love or Chris Bosh, all relative to the era in which they played in, because back then, Bosh shooting roughly 32 to 34% from three was a noticeable increase from a lot of other power forwards at that time. But more importantly, reducing Anthony Davis to just be a floor spacer would not only be negligent to who Anthony Davis is as a player, but also would do more harm than good to the overall offense of the Lakers. So no, it would not make any sense at all for Anthony Davis to accept a Chris Bosh or Kevin Love role just so Russell Westbrook can properly fit in on this team when Westbrook is the one who would need to make the most adjustments. Which then brings me to my next point. Westbrook is literally one of the worst floor spacers the NBA has seen in the last 20 to 30 years. Westbrook in the last 4 years shot below 30% from three. Even if you want to say, oh, well, he's going to get open looks now because he has Anthony Davis and LeBron on his team. Newsflash for the people out there, Westbrook always gets open looks. Majority of his three-pointers over the past 3 to 4 years have either been open or wide open three-pointers, and yet he still shoots a poor percentage, not only when he is contested, but also left wide open. So it doesn't actually matter. But I don't think I have to spend that much time explaining to you that Westbrook can't shoot a three ball because I think that's pretty obvious. So let's talk about the rest of the floor. That mid-range game that Russell Westbrook has that people claim that he does it at a really good rate, no, he doesn't. What about when you get closer to the basket? In the non-restricted area last year, Westbrook was still below league average in terms of his efficiency. And even when we get closer to the basket, yes, the efficiency does shoot up to a point where it's very respectable, shooting roughly around 64% in the restricted area. However, there will be some questions on how often those shots come to Russ, mainly because he's not only teamed with LeBron, but also Anthony Davis. But furthermore, even at a 64% clip in the restricted area, he is still below league average. There is nothing that Westbrook does on the court at an elite level in terms of scoring the basketball. But wait, we're still not done. In terms of all the other aspects that Westbrook does impact the game on, such as playmaking and rebounding, guess what? More than likely, those numbers will be toned down significantly because he's on the floor with someone like LeBron, who also impacts the game in playmaking and rebounding. And then you have Anthony Davis, who also impacts the game in rebounding, which means that his influence and impacts in other areas is going to decrease while still being an inefficient scorer, which is why I don't understand this trade whatsoever. All of the things that Russell Westbrook brings to the table, not only does LeBron and AD do as well, but they do it noticeably better. So outside of just talent, there's no actual concerns that adding Westbrook to this team addresses. The Lakers are now an even more shallow team. They're even worse at three-point shooting, and now they're a worse free throw shooting team. Bang. Those are just my thoughts. Please let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. I really want to hear what people have to say about adding Westbrook to a team that features Anthony Davis and LeBron James, because I do believe there is a huge divide in the NBA community right now. And also, make sure to subscribe button, notification bell, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.
All right. Oh shit, this is for another video. But yeah, what I think about it is, yeah, that floor spacing is gonna be crazy. Honestly, what I think about it is, I don't know, I don't see how it works, man, unless Russell like improves his game, or like not improve his game, but adjust his game. But it's like Russell's been the same exact player, so it's like I don't know how that fits. I don't know how it works, but I mean, when you have a teammate like LeBron, I mean, I guess you can like manage it through, but I just don't know with this, bro. Even if you add Carmelo or they say Trevor Ariza, I don't think so. Who else? Rudy Gay or DeMar DeRozan. It doesn't really solve the floor spacing issue. In terms of 3-point shooting, that's why it's gonna be more of a struggle. You know, especially in the playoffs when teams game plan for you. You know, in your offense is based off of driving to the hole. You know, getting mid. I mean, like I feel like it's more, and we've seen it with Russell. It's so easy to game plan for him in the playoffs, bro. So that's why it's kind of like. But I mean, I don't know how this works. I mean, they'll still be a playoff team. I mean, everybody with a brain knows that they'll still be a playoff team. But I mean, how far they will go, I mean, that's tough. Especially with the Warriors coming back. We'll see how Klay Thompson is. I mean, who else? Denver. Jamal Murray might come back. Probably not at the beginning of the season, but he'll come back somewhere down the road. Kawhi. The Clippers is going to be interesting. That's why I think they should re-sign Reggie Jackson. But with the Clippers, it will be interesting. Phoenix will be back. Utah, they'll price decrease a little bit, but it'll still be a respectable team. Memphis is gonna get better. Dallas, and we'll see with the Porzingis situation, but yeah, and with Portland, that's gonna be interesting too with them. We'll see what happens with Dame. So, I mean, but even with all that being said, they can still win the West, which is still pretty interesting. But like I said, we'll see. So, yeah, man. What are you guys' thoughts? You know what I'm saying? Just put it down in the comment section down below. Yeah, man. I just want to hear some opinions, bro. This is wow, man. But yeah, man. With that being said, man, I'm gonna head out.